In this tutorial, we're going to take you for a test drive with Quigler. We're going to look under the hood and you're really going to see one of the engines that drives Quigler, and that's the steps. So if you are an existing on a free trial or you've bought a membership, then just go to login on the home page. And if you are new, by all means, go to sign up today and get your free trial. If you get a free trial today, you're going to come to this page. Just click on the lower right, Start Test Drive. If you have an existing account, then you're going to come to this page, which is we call the Transaction Dashboard page, and just click on New Test Drive. If you are new, you're going to also come to this page. So you're both going to come here, just hit in the upper right, New Test Drive. Now there's only two pieces of information we need, but each is critically important to pulling the correct steps and actions for you. We just need to know, do you want a seller transaction or a buyer one, because each one is radically different. There are very different steps and actions based upon federal law, state law, and the Code of Ethics. And then the second thing we need to know is what kind of transaction, single, condo, co-op, multi. Just choose one. In the case of this particular test drive, I have chosen single family here in Connecticut, in Stamford, Connecticut. Now you're back to your transaction dashboard page, and in the very top will be the new test drive that you have created. Quigler is whirring around, pulling the correct steps and actions for you. Just click on that particular test drive in order to open it up. Now you will come to the page you're going to get very familiar with, across the top of which are all of the actions. In this particular case, there are 10, but there could be as few as 8, there could be as many as 11, all depending upon what kind you chose and what state you are in. Now, the very first one is pre-listing activities, and this is a very important one. There's some federal actions here, but there's also some very important local ones that you're going to all learn about in our next tutorial. But you want to start off right, so take this one very seriously. The next one is your agency discussion. Again, another one where a lawsuit could begin or you could forever preclude them. If you are in a dual agency state, this is super important to you. If you are not, if you're in a transaction state, it's also important. This is where you're going to have your agency discussion with your client. The third one is your compensation discussion. Something most agents really don't like to talk about, and neither do the clients, by the way. It's uncomfortable for everybody. The way to get over that discomfort is for you to inaugurate the discussion, and there's lots here for you to be able to talk about. The fourth one is your listing agreement. And each one of these steps and actions is customized to whatever your state requires in a listing agreement. Whatever it is, you need to pull your agreement and you need to talk with your seller about it. Walk them through it. It's an important discussion to have. Don't shortchange yourself here. This is a place where you can really talk to them about your first real contractual document with them, and they'll like the fact that you're leading the discussion. And then finally, for this initial part, you get into this. Now you finally get out into the marketplace and you start marketing and showing. Both of these particular steps, you may be surprised to learn, have actions that are federally mandated, not just by your state. So you might want to pay close attention to both of them. And then, hopefully, you're going to get to the offer stage. Now, offers, just so you know, have the largest number of actions because so many things can go wrong here or right here. And if you stick to Quigler, we can almost guarantee you they're going to go right. You're going to make sure that you do everything that is found here, and your seller is going to be very impressed, or your buyer, that you've crossed the T's, you've dotted the I's, and you know everything to do with this step. And then you get to an accepted offer or contract. That leads to a closing. Now, the closing is probably going to be done either by a lawyer or by an escrow firm or by your closing department, and you may never really need to spend a whole lot of time here. But there happen to be at least 2 federal actions required of this, and I would urge you to look them over, because why would you want to leave the buyer or the seller learning about them at the closing from a lawyer. Why wouldn't you want to prepare them in advance of what's coming? And one, the receipt of 10,000 USD or more, has to do with the Patriot Act. And the second one, FIRPTA, the Foreign Investment in Real Property Tax Act, has to do with getting a FIRPTA certificate. Again, neither one of these are things you're probably going to have to deal with, but why not alert your client in advance that this will be coming up? Okay, so now you are done, and then you'll see under each one of the steps, in this one, pre-listing activities, you're going to find the yes or no questions that make up the actions that we will explain to you how you perform them in the next tutorial. But going back and closing with your transaction dashboard page, here it is. A couple of things we want to point out. Notice the second one down. It's a co-op in New Haven. We're just trying to show you that for test drive, you can create as many test drives as you want, and you can learn about the specific different properties and different locations and be able to pull the steps and actions for them. Notice the third one. It is not a test drive. This one happens to be a transaction in which we have invited a consumer in New Haven who heard about Quigler and really wants to be on it. So we have said, great, we'll set you up, which we have, and now we've invited them in. And you notice on the far right, it says invitation sent to client. And then finally on the bottom, you will see an A+ next to a transaction here in Stamford. Remember, Quigler is private. It's only you and Quigler. No one sees this. And Quigler gives you a grade so that you know how you're doing. And what you're going to learn in the next tutorial is that it's virtually impossible, if you follow Quigler, to have anything but an A+ as part of your profile, because Quigler is not a test. Quigler is a guide, a mentor, someone constantly keeping you on the right track so that you always shine. Onward to the next tutorial about the actions.